Dear colleagues, good afternoon. Today, we will discuss issues on the economic agenda. At the outset of our meeting, I would like to note that the state of our economy, including its key sectors, remains stable. This is true despite external attempts to destabilize the situation in the fuel and energy sector and in several other areas. I would also like to emphasize once again that the difficulties being created in our fuel market are undoubtedly temporary in nature and are not capable of affecting the overall trajectory of economic growth. At present, according to the Ministry of Economic Development, Russia's GDP grew at a modest pace in May, but growth nevertheless remained in positive territory at 0.3%. Overall, during the first 5 months of this year, GDP increased by 0.2%. One of the key factors behind this performance is, of course, domestic demand from the state, businesses, and citizens alike. In this regard, I would note that bank lending continues to accelerate. This includes mortgage lending as well as loans to enterprises, organizations, and the real sector of the economy. The volume of these bank loan portfolios continues to grow. Accordingly, the money supply is also increasing. As of July 1st, it had risen by approximately 13% year-on-year. Such dynamics allow us to expect continued stable growth in domestic demand. Public finances also remain sound. In June, the federal budget recorded a surplus. What was the amount? 196 billion rubles. An important factor here was the increase in budget revenues. Both oil and gas revenues increased, as did revenues unrelated to the oil and gas sector. These so-called non-oil and gas revenues were more than 1 quarter higher in the second quarter of this year than during the same period last year. As for the consolidated budgets of Russia's constituent regions, they recorded a deficit during the first half of the year, roughly the same as in the first half of last year. In this regard, it is essential to provide additional support to the regions and their budgets in order to ensure that government obligations at the regional and municipal levels are fully met, while also continuing to implement local development programs. At the initiative of the United Russia Party, an important decision was adopted in June. The deadline for repaying regional budget loans was postponed from the current year, 2026, to 2030. This means that the regions will have more than 100 billion rubles in additional resources available this year alone. It is also known that our colleagues from United Russia have put forward a new proposal concerning budget loans that the regions are scheduled to repay over the next 3 years from 2027 through 2029. They propose extending the repayment deadlines for these loans as well, this time beyond 2030. I know that deputies from United Russia have worked together with the Ministry of Finance on this issue. I asked the government to prepare the necessary draft regulatory documents so that, together with the deputies of the state, due most likely the newly elected convocation, we can adopt these changes during the upcoming autumn session. Anton Germanovich, is this feasible? Let me repeat. In essence, this is about providing Russia's constituent regions with additional financial resources. These funds can be used both to address current priorities and to stimulate long-term economic growth. Support technological development and encourage business activity. I want to emphasize once again that it is precisely these long-term objectives that should guide our economic policy, and the measures we implement at the federal, regional, and local levels. As I have said before, our most important task today is to launch a new investment cycle and stimulate structural changes within the Russian economy. We will discuss several new initiatives in this area separately. We have already reviewed some of these issues. Mikhail Vladimirovych came by just before this meeting, and we discussed several additional matters together. Then, in August, at the meeting of the Council for Strategic Development and National Projects, We will continue this discussion, and I hope indeed I am confident reach a number of concrete agreements.